Sail away, sail away. Tubular bells. Listen to the theme from the X-Files.
For this week's episode, toss in Tubular Bells as your...
Tubular bells.
Is it technically copyright if you play that infomercial? Because technically you're doing less than 30 seconds of each song.
I think it would be okay.
I think you should make that the intro.
Because you want to listen to Tubular Bells. What the fuck does that mean? Sail away, sail away. The theme from the X-Files. Like, did they run out of songs? That's why they used the theme from the X-Files and the theme from Twin Peaks?
They're very soothing songs, Heather, okay?
And then what's the other one that initially brought us to... Oh, the... Hello and welcome to Talk to Me. My name is Heather.
And I'm Kathleen.
And we figured this week we would just take it easy.
A little light work.
And I was going to release it for this week, so this will be our first anniversary episode.
Yay! 1 year of getting drunk.
I know. Annoying our husbands.
And having fun.
Okay, so I finally pushed myself to watch the Candy miniseries on Hulu that we kind of like brushed over last week. And I know it's not a documentary, but
no, it's not.
Since we covered the case with the last episode, I just want to like sort of review the series.
And we both read the book.
Yes. And then we can also go over the Netflix series Conversations with the Killer, the John Wayne Gacy Tapes that came out on April 20th. Blaze it. Because I figure like we don't need to cover that for a full episode because everybody knows the John Wayne Gacy story. And
yeah, it's like he's like pretty much the most known.
It's like him, Ted Bundy, and then John. Yeah, I didn't want to do like a whole.
Like everyone knows his story.
Yes. So, just light episode. Call it like the review episode.
We don't want to say fun because it's not.
I mean, we're having fun because I'm smashed.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're halfway there.
Oh yeah. So
Candy was created by Nick Antosca and Robin Veith and stars Jessica Biel as Candy Montgomery and Melanie Linsky as Betty Gore, and also Justin Timberlake was in this.
I saw that point and I was like, is that Justin Timberlake? Oh my god.
And also Porn Stash from Orange is the New Black. It was a weird cast.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Justin Timberlake only got in the film because
his
wife
is heavily involved. I hated it. I know I texted you, like, I finished the first episode and I was like, I hate this.
I like it in, like, a, like, trashy, like, fake viewpoint, but I agree with you. Like, I hated how they made Betty come off as. They
made it feel like Betty deserved to die. We're not supposed to have any sympathy for her.
Right. Like, Candy, in my opinion, got away with murder, and she should have gone to prison.
Yeah.
And I think that in this miniseries, they definitely made it seem like Candy was like the perfect wife and mother.
She loves Star Wars.
And she was, she served God, and she was like, the perfect person.
Yeah.
And then Betty was just like this awkward.
Betty hated children. She was a terrible mother. She nagged her husband by constantly calling him. It was just like, who are we supposed to hate in this?
Yeah, it felt very shitty.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Betty's children.
Yeah.
I have to hope that they didn't watch it because it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
I was so upset with it.
I mean, from what I read in all the like news articles and the book and like the Texas Monthly, like it seemed like Betty was doing her best. I mean, she seemed to have like more of like the postpartum issues after having kids, which like fuck, who hasn't?
Yeah.
And if you've been through that, like it's a nightmare. It's hell. Like I sympathize with her, and that and the whole like having difficulty making friends or being part of like the club kind of thing. And I really do feel like that
gossipy bitch club that
right.
Yeah.
And I have to feel like that's kind of what it portrays Candy and all of like the friends as, is just kind of like this little, you know, clique of like, you know,
perfect wives.
Perfect wives and mothers. And then they're, you know, Betty is just kind of feeling like an outcast kind of thing. So I sympathize. And
yeah, I just remember finishing that first episode and texting you like, what is happening?
Yeah, you're like, well, why are they making Betty look bad?
Like, why am I supposed to hope Betty dies? Like, it's really bad.
Fucking wild.
Was Betty pregnant when she died? I don't ever remember.
Okay, so I was curious about that, and I looked further into it, and it turns out, like, she had actually just recently gone to the doctor to get medication to start her period because she was worried that she was pregnant. And I read somewhere that in her autopsy it showed that she was going to start her period. So it didn't look like she was pregnant.
Okay.
But I was really worried about that too, because I was like,
I don't remember that.
like, she's freaking out thinking she's pregnant. And I mean, I remember, you know, I think they touched on that in the Texas Monthly article, because, you know, she's like worried about it because obviously she didn't do too well with the first two pregnancies.
Yeah.
Especially the first. And so, again, that comes down to like the whole, you know, postpartum, like, I know with my second, like, it was really difficult that first year, just like not connecting with her, but just like my mood, feeling like shit all the time. Like, I just remember always,
right when I was probably like 8 months with my second, the doctor was like, I need you to tell me how you're doing because I know you had problems with the first one. Like, we need to talk through this before you leave this room. And I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I know what to do.
Yeah, that whole first year after my second was just like, I hated everyone, and I was just so angry all the time.
Yeah.
And then once I got on medication, it was just like, okay, this is like great. Like, I'm fine again. I never hated the kid. I just hated everyone around me.
Yes.
So, I get it. And yeah, I can see why she was scared that it was, you know, a possibility that she was pregnant, and why that would be fearful or whatever.
I just hated the way the series handled the whole story. Like, it was just... But then even you sent me the article where Jessica Biel was like, I sympathize. I don't know if she did. I'm like, what are you talking about? She admitted she did it.
The fact that she tried so hard to cover it up.
She left a crying baby. She could have easily called from the house, like, tried to disguise her voice. It was just...
Right. The fact that she tried so hard to cover it up, the fact that she left a baby in the house, even after she found out the husband wasn't coming home after work. Like, all of those things. And I do think that, like, reading further into, like, the articles in the book, like, I do think that she was pissed off that Alan ended the affair and they weren't seeing each other anymore. Because even though, like, you know, she apparently didn't like the sex all that much, like, I do think that, like, she was in love with him, and he was like...
He's trying to work on his marriage with his wife. They're going on a trip to Europe. And...
Right. They were finally happy. Like, they had gone through that marriage counseling session. Like, they were back to being, like, in love.
That's why I was kind of felt like it was a jealousy thing.
And that whole, like, idea that, like, Pat found out about it and, like, felt like it was his fault. It was just weird.
You mean Jonah Ryan from Veep?
Yes.
That's all I could think the entire time. Well, fuck you, Jonah.
It was weird casting. I mean, I get it, he does come off as like that nerdy like tech guy or whatever.
He's a great actor, but that's just all I could think about.
It was definitely like, I was like, oh, he looks like he's a good dad, and like hanging out with
Good for you, Jonah Ryan. I know that's not your real name, but
yeah, look at you being a father figure. What was... God, just, I mean, the fact that she murdered this woman, left her baby there, went about her day, went home, like...
Went to church. I think that's the worst.
She went to Star Wars. Like, she went to see Star Wars with this woman's daughter. And she had murdered the mother. I can't. Like, I hope wherever she is today that she feels like shit all the time.
Oh, no. I don't think so.
No, I don't think
also,
she does.
okay, in the series, she said that she had another affair after Alan.
I read that in the book as well.
Okay, I wasn't... Because, again, I read that so long ago.
Yeah, so apparently, because, like, her and a girlfriend would go out to, like, a bar and dance or whatever, and she met a guy there and had, like, a brief couple months affair or whatever, but he got, like, really attached to her and clingy and stuff. And I just remember, like, she didn't tell her husband about that one, and it came out during, like, the court proceedings.
Okay, yeah, and that's how they had it in the show.
Yeah, and, like, he had no idea. And then she just, like, kind of brushed it off, like, apparently. It was just like, it's not a big deal. Like, it was, you know, a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, bitch, it's new to him. Like,
Yeah.
like,
That's like it didn't mean anything. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, like, she seemed like a very selfish person.
Oh, yeah. That's what it seemed like when she was younger. Like, she just wanted a party, and then it was like, well, I gotta settle down with a family, and just marry somebody with money kind of thing. Like,
yeah, that's really all she just wanted somebody who could take care of her. And then once she had, like, you know,
she was never going to be happy.
Yeah. Which, like, fine. Like, marriage and kids, that's not for everyone. Like, you don't have to do that. I mean, I get it. Like, in the 60s and the 70s, like, it was definitely a thing. But you definitely don't have to go out and, like, sleep with, like, your friend's husband who is, like, your daughter's best friend's mom. Like,
so bizarre.
And just, but I mean, they made it seem like they were closer friends than they really were. They weren't really friends. Like, she threw the baby shower, but I think it was only because the person who was originally hosting it couldn't host it or something, and so she ended up having it at her house.
She had the party house, remember? She had the best house for parties.
Yeah, so she had it at her house because of that. Like, it's...
How do you throw a party for the wife of somebody you're having an affair with? It's so weird.
Seriously. Just, I mean, and then, like...
It's just dark.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I liked the miniseries just because I'm interested to see the HBO one.
I am more interested. This one I just did not care for.
I am hoping that they portray Betty in the right that, you know...
Make her feel more like a victim than she was in this.
Yeah, because, again, she was the victim. And I do not buy for even a second this whole, like, self-defense thing.
Oh,
like, that Betty, like... Yeah, the shh. And, like, Betty coming after her with the axe, or, like, originally or whatever. Like, no, I think that she was, like, pissed off about the fact that, like, Alan left her. He was, like, getting on with his wife. They were going on a trip. They were happy. Like, maybe Betty's pregnant again, and they're going to have a third kid. And they're just, like, you know, settling into this whole, like, ideal lifestyle. And he's happy, and he doesn't want fucking Candy anymore. Ugh.
It made me very upset. Yeah. That was why I was just like, I can't get into this. It was just...
She left a fucking baby there. Just like...
And made it the most terrifying crime scene ever. Just imagining those people walking into that dark house and just a crying baby.
A horse crying baby. Literally
covered...
Yeah,
it cried so long that its voice was hoarse.
Yeah, even the little neighbor girl that went over to see if she could play with Betty's older daughter, like, after Candy had left, said that, like, the baby was crying when she went over. Like, it literally cried until it couldn't cry anymore. And they, like, walk in, and the baby's covered in its own shit. Like...
Oh, my God.
I can't imagine how, like, she feels knowing that information.
Yeah.
Just gross. And I'm glad that her and Pat eventually divorced. It should have been sooner. I feel like if
the fact they made it through the entire court proceedings.
I feel if I had gone to my husband and been like, okay, so here's the deal. Yes, I had an affair with this guy. I mean, it was a long time ago, whatever. But also, his wife is dead and they think it's
and
me.
I did it.
Yeah. She didn't even tell him until like much later. Like he's sitting there like she would
I'm
never.
pleading self-defense, which means I did do it.
Well, and then the idea that they like tell everyone further into it, like she's like, okay, so I did do it, but it's self-defense. And
and also this wasn't the only guy I had an affair with.
Yeah. I just like, I can't believe that like the husband's like, okay, so you had an affair with our like church fellow or whatever, like, you know, like our neighborly friend.
And our daughter goes over to their house to hang out.
Their daughter sleeps over here all the time.
In fact, she was at our house that day.
Seriously. Like, and, you know, you're accused of murder, and then, okay, you also had another affair. But then, like, oh, you did murder her. Okay. Like, I can't believe he stayed with her. Like, what the fuck? Like, my husband, if I had murdered someone, my husband would be like, peace the
if
fuck
I had
out.
an affair with someone, let alone murder that person's wife.
Just too...
You know what? It was the 80s.
Different times.
Are we done with this one?
Yes.
I feel like we've
bitched enough. It's definitely worth a watch, but again, like, keep in the back of your mind, Betty is the victim here.
Yes. I feel like that is not portrayed in this.
And her family. Also, like, I know it was, like, a different time, and also, like, I've read a lot that, like, men tend to move on, like, really quickly because they're looking for, like, a mother role or whatever.
But, like, he was, like, flirting with this woman before the trial's even over.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Like, they got married super fast.
Well, it didn't last, though, so...
Yeah. It's probably not built on, like, a real foundation. But anyway, like, that was also kind of, like, blah to me.
I'm glad it was, like, one of the last things they mention. Like, oh, by the way.
Yeah, like, I can see why the grandparents raised the kids.
Yeah. Next up is Conversations with the Killer, the John Wayne Gacy Tapes. It was directed by Joe Berlinger, who is very involved with serial killer films and documentaries, including one we've already covered, Murder Among the Mormons. I think he was a producer on that one.
Oh, that was a classic.
So I'm not sure if they're trying to make a complete series, because they also have a Ted Bundy one.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, oh, this must be just like the Ted Bundy one, except it was not.
No, because they barely play any audio tapes. I feel like the Ted Bundy one had way more.
Yeah, it was a lot more of just like interviews with people. I did like the interview with or the interviews that they did with his attorney.
Sam Amarante?
Yes.
That guy is just weird.
When he's like, I just told those police, I was like, just trust me, you can't let him leave.
But he went on to write a book, so I don't know how much is for show.
And I was like, he told me everything, and I told the police, I was like, you can't let this man leave. Shoot out his tires if you have to. And I'm just like, whoa, man. He's like, I know how, like, the lawyer-client confidentiality, so I couldn't tell him anything, but at the same time, like, I just had to get across that, like, it was serious.
Yeah, I don't know how much to believe from that guy, because the book he wrote is...
pretty damning.
He paints himself and John Wayne Gacy as just like, we did it for America. It's very bizarre.
Super weird.
So yeah, I didn't want to make an entire episode devoted to this, because everybody knows the John Wayne Gacy story, and if we did go over the entire thing, like, we can't do it in 1 hour.
No, it would be like a 3-part series.
Yes, there's so much.
First of all, just because
10 victims per episode.
Yeah, that is the most important thing, is like, this man took a lot of lives.
33 that we know of.
And some of them still, to this day, do not have their names.
No.
Which is just mind-blowing to me.
Like, I remember getting a news alert, was it October or something last year, when they named one of them?
I think even during this, at the end or whatever, they even, like, announced that, like, a new victim had been identified.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when they announced him.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah.
It was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Like, these poor men and boys are just, you know, unknown.
Yes, I just wanted to treat this more as like a review and discussion. First off, I did not know it was Robert Peetzel. Peets is how they kept saying it. I always thought it was Robert Pites.
I thought it was as well. Like
For years,
Peist.
I had been thought it was like Peist, and they said Peist, and several people said it. I was like, oh, like I'd say like 10 years. I thought it was the other way.
It's always interesting when you hear someone say something for the first time, like that you've only ever read, and you're just like, oh my god, so that's how you say it. Like, what was it that I was like? Oh, it'll come to me. But anyway.
So I had known that he had clown paintings in this house, but in this they have like when they're walking through the house, video recording it. I did not know how many weird ass clown paintings there were.
He's got like a taste.
It is very weird, and
It
also a
reminds me of-
tiki bar in the house.
Did you ever watch like The Good Place?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it reminds me of like in The Good Place when she like gets to her house and like she goes inside and there's like this giant like clown painting or whatever.
That's so creepy.
And they're like, we remembered that you liked clowns. And she's like, yeah.
And clowns are, it's not that terrifying, but
Right, I'm not scared of clowns, but
if
don't...
I'm hoping to hook up with somebody and I walk into their house and there's clown paintings, like, I'm getting the fuck out. That is weird.
Right, it's not my aesthetic, and also, like, it just seems kind of weird.
I think, like, clown paintings and then, like, quickly after, the live, laugh, love signs.
Oh, dude,
First clown paintings is first. Like.
First of all, unless you're, like, going to hook up with a lady, the live, laugh, love signs are definitely married men. Because...
their moms maybe decorated the place.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, the clown paintings just was... He was very devoted to being a clown.
It was an extensive collection. Like...
And then, yeah, the random tiki bar, like, not just a bar in your house. Like, there was straight up, like, straw built up in it. It was weird.
I mean,
and it's so quick that you have to, like, pay attention to everything.
Think of the time.
Yeah. You gotta have the rumpus room.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so in this, they go into his insanity defense, which is fucking ridiculous.
I like how he's like, I can't even be sure that I killed them. Like, I don't know that I did it. And then later on, when he's like talking about, like, he's like, yeah, I killed them all. Like,
yeah.
And then he's like trying to claim some of them as like self-defense or something. And I'm just like, which is it?
Like the first one I could see because the guy was like making a breakfast and walked in with a knife, which, I mean, that's bad on that guy's part, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you could find yourself in like one, maybe two, if you're really unlucky.
33
3,
that we know of.
But 33, like there's a point where you're just like, I just don't see how all
Don't
these
you
are
maybe
self-defense.
Pull the cord when you get to double digits?
Yeah, like maybe like stop picking men up at bus stops.
Not even men, boys.
Yeah, like boys, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wish they went into detail about the accomplices, because do they even touch on that at all?
They do not.
Because, like, there is proof that he couldn't have committed all of them. Like, one of them, I think, 3 days before the victim went missing, he was in Pittsburgh. He had flown to Pittsburgh and came back, like, the day after the guy went missing.
No, I could definitely see that maybe some of his employees, because, again, he was
definitely
hiring young boys.
Because this wouldn't be the first time. Like, Dean Corll and, is it William Bonin? He was out of California. He had, like, 4 accomplices.
Yeah, no, I could see it, like, being, like, a, like, hey, like, help me bring in these, like, younger guys.
I think
not to mention, like, I don't want to be, like, you know.
He's a fat old man. You don't know how he could have done it.
Yeah, I don't want to be body shaming and, like, mean, but, like.
Because he did have some of these kids, like, dig holes. How is it not, like, that weird to go one step further and be like,
hey, can you bring your friend over to, like, hang out?
Because, like, literally, Dean Corll and William Bonham, like, it was going to be potential victims, and they decided, like, no, I'll get them to help me out instead. Like, it's
well, and
it's
like,
not unheard of.
They, they even interview like that one kid. Well, he's a grown man now, obviously. The guy who like talks about like his night there when he like came there with a knife or whatever, and like the handcuff situation and all that stuff, and like
he might have, I don't know if it was him or another guy, where like he was like, there was somebody else in that house with us, like.
Well, and he said that like he came with friends or whatever, or it was like he like had come to the house with friends, and then like they left or something, and it was just him and Gacy, and then like during the night, like they were, and so I just like something like that makes me think like, okay, like they brought him over so that he could like do his like freaky shit, and then he like decided not to. And then, I don't know, it definitely, like,
I swear I heard, like, one guy was like, yeah, I remember there was somebody else, like, turning lights in the house, or I saw somebody, like, watching it happen.
No, he had to have some of the younger boys, like, luring these people to the house, like, for, drugs or alcohol or whatever money it was, but I just don't buy that Gacy was, like, bringing them all on his own, because, like, let's be real, he's not, like, a young boys type. Yeah,
but he's got, like, porn and weed and liquor. That's where you go to party.
You can get those from other places. Like, I don't buy that he brought
Rosalie Carter, which, that poor woman, like... Between John Wayne Gacy and Jim Jones, like, somebody had to tell her, like, you're not meeting the public anymore.
Like, you don't get to pick.
You have the worst luck.
No more photographs.
No. That poor woman. What are the fucking chances you meet, like, 2 serial killers?
And have, like, photographic evidence.
Oh, my God. What else was there? Oh, so I had always heard about that girl with Robert Pice, how she had his coat on and was able to slip that receipt in. Like, I was like, why would she ever have his coat? And they explained it in this, that she worked at the front of the store. She got cold. He would let her borrow his coat. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah,
because she had a crush on him, so she's like, well, if I put this in his pocket, he'll remember me. And
yeah, I thought that was like a really good, like,
which, I mean, in turn, if it wasn't for her, like,
the whole case blew open because of her. Yeah, like, God, they would have never been able to, get in his house a second time and find fucking all those bodies. And that one kid that was like, oh, I was digging down in the little crawl space or whatever
like you do.
Yeah, like you do. And he had like a map drawn out for like where for me to dig, and like I started digging the wrong direction, and he like freaks out on me. It's like, yeah, you were about to uncover a body. Like,
yeah, he's like, I need you to go straight, and you're going diagonal.
He had to maximize the body space.
Yeah, because he was like starting to like stack them.
It's just insane. But also, like, they literally had to take that fucking house apart.
Well, that was after they got the bodies, because they're like, nobody's gonna want to live here. Let's just take this shit. But yeah, there was like not that much audio.
Yeah, there really wasn't.
Something that
it was
you
really...
would like call Conversations with the Killer, the John Wayne Gacy tapes. Like, it was
like more of like conversations with people who talk to the killer.
Well, not even that. Like, victim's family and like the police and his lawyer. Like, I mean, that is interesting to hear from those people, but
yeah, and how like they were following him.
Yeah, how they had to arrest him because he had weed on him. Like, God.
When he like gave it to someone to try and get rid of it because he knew he was
like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. I know they're following me.
Yeah, not the smartest move. And then they like finally they were like, okay, we have to search, like, because we can smell it, like, it's coming through the...
Either he had a really bad shit, or that's the smell of bodies.
Yeah, he's just like, I can smell it coming through the vent, like, there's definitely. Oh my god! When they went there the first time, and he was like, "Oh, I can't talk to you guys. Like my uncle or whatever died." Like he literally had the kid's body in his attic.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
If they had just been like, no, it'll take 5 seconds and we just come in and talk. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just wild. And they could have stopped it like so early in. And I think that like if it had been women, it would have been a lot more.
If it had been one rich kid sooner.
Yes, that too. But like if it had been women, I think that it would have been
white women.
Right.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah, no, like, well, and these were like white boys.
Well, no, but I'm saying it.
Right. No. I completely agree. Like if it had been white women, it would have been stopped like within the first couple women. But just the fact that it was like this whole like taboo of like homosexuality and like.
Well, yeah. Look at Dahmer.
Yeah.
Like, this kid is clearly underage, but that's his boyfriend. Let's just
literally just give the victim
send this
back
child to his death. Yeah.
Ugh. And they got promoted for it. Yeah. No, if it had been women or any other situation, I think that like they would have taken it a lot more seriously. But because of like the whole homosexuality in that time, it just
the clown paintings alone, lock him up.
Oh, he's guilty as sin. Oh, the way he talks about, like, when he's talking about, like, bisexuals and stuff.
That is the weirdest thing, that he's clearly gay. But if he says he, like, had sex with women, even though he doesn't enjoy it, then he's bisexual.
It was just so weird, though, how he was shitting on, like, it just...
Clearly I had kids with this woman, so I'm not gay. I'm bisexual, even though I'm not at all interested in women. It was just... But his dad did a number on him.
Yeah, he was just like... When he said, like, bisexuals, like, they really just like to have sex. That's all it is. And I'm like, that's not what it is at all. Like, you are such a piece of shit. Like, when you are, like... sodomizing and murdering young boys and like men and stuff, like you're not allowed to like shit on anything.
I think my favorite is he raped that one boy. The boy went to the cops, so he hired one of his workers to beat that kid up. Like, it's so bizarre.
Like, how do you not get in trouble legally? Like, how does this just, like, get swept under the rug?
He was sentenced to 10 years, and he got out in 18 months. Like,
I was...
What the fuck?
Appalled at that. Like, literally, 10 years to 18 months. Like, who the fuck? Like
that's... not even a fifth of the sentence.
Like, there are people serving... like 5 times that for like some marijuana, and this man sodomized a kid. Just gross.
Yeah. Did you watch the Ted Bundy one?
I did.
Do you prefer this one or the Ted Bundy one?
I would have to say Ted Bundy one.
Because I felt like that one had more like audio. Because I thought this one, they were like, we had 80 hours of audio, and it was like...
You played 5 minutes.
Yeah. Like, it was not that much.
I did. I mean, I liked the interviews with people that, like, I hadn't, like, read their side of the story and stuff like that. So, I mean, I liked that aspect of it, but I definitely think that, like, I feel like I know more about the Ted Bundy case than I do the John Wayne Gacy, but, like, I don't know, I'd have to say
I feel like I know more about the John Wayne Gacy, but yeah, they don't really talk about, like, they don't go into that much about, like, him putting bodies in the river. They don't talk about, like, maybe he has, well, we know he has accomplice, but they don't go into that. They don't go into, like, here's the people who we don't know their names. Like, here's pictures, descriptions of them.
That would have been nice if they had actually had, like, they...
Or even, like, here's some we think might be connected to, here's some information on that. If you have information, get in contact. But it was just... They could have done more with this.
I agree. I think the Ted Bundy was definitely more thorough. But I mean, it was worth a watch. Just expected more.
Yeah, like they could have, especially because they clearly filmed it long ago to when they had to be like, oh, also we connected, or this was one of the victims' names that was later like DNA, like, and that was last year. So I feel like you have time you could have added to this.
You know, added more fluff. I'd watch it again. Well, I wouldn't watch it again, but like,
I probably would, just to see like what else was in this guy's house. Like, what did I miss?
I liked the way they like did like the back and forth and like the pictures and timeline stuff, and like how they had like the kids' pictures and stuff like that. Like, I liked that like kind of like scene skipping type of stuff that they did. Like, that was kind of cool, but I don't know. Now I kind of want to watch the Ted Bundy one again. Yeah,
because I didn't really watch that. I listened.
Yeah.
Because it was something like I had going at work, so I would just listen to it.
Because I think that came out around the same time as like the Zac Efron like as Bundy.
Which the director of this was, I think, also involved with that too.
I'm not surprised.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was like, we're not going to really focus on the killing. We're going to focus like his arrests and getting caught and his relationships.
Yeah, I liked that. I remember watching both of those and being like, just like, okay, this is pretty interesting. Like, I know a lot about Bundy, but it's like a good look into, like, especially with, you know, the girlfriend.
Well, see, that one, because there was also that documentary where the girlfriend and her daughter.
Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Ted Bundy, but also other stuff that...
Maybe we'll talk about Ted Bundy next week.
Other stuff that, like, yeah, I don't want to do a full episode on, but... So I just want to, like, let's do a quick review rundown.
There's that one... Was it Catching Killers or something like that? There's, like, a new... Like, it's like a series kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I need to watch.
Maybe we'll, like...
I think there's a couple of seasons.
Yeah. Maybe we'll, like, slam a couple of those into an episode and just do, like... Catching Two Killers... rundown or something. I don't know. Although we could really use something lighthearted if anyone has any recommendations, because it'd be really great to not talk about like dead children or like death, you know, in general for just like a week.
Well, Netflix has 2 things next. I don't know if we really want to do the Warren Jeffs. That's, you know, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I think we'll probably skip that one.
I don't remember what the other one was, but I was like, maybe.
We'll see. I know there's like a lot of really good stuff coming out in June, so.
Yeah. Is that it? Anything else?
No.
Next week, we have part 1 of 2 for Bad Vegan coming out. Ooh. We had already recorded, but I was like, you know what? Let's... 1 year anniversary. It's
special.
Do something.
Got it on my calendar. See if they have 1 year podcast anniversary cards. So
that's gonna do it for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to Doc to Me. The opening music is by Twisterium. For comments or suggestions, we can be reached by email at doctomepod@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at doctomepod and find a link to our Facebook group in the show notes. Thank you.